Good morning.
Hello.
How's everybody today? Yeah?
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's friggin' morning. Today we're gonna talk about transportation. That is my 8 waste. It's our second waste.
Oh, yeah.
I love the friggin' fat guy laying on it. It makes me so happy. First though, grateful, proud. Anything that you are grateful and or proud of does not have to be work related. Tell us some good stuff. Anybody?
I'm grateful for Ben Rickers helping me put tables together yesterday.
Heck yeah. These tables look awesome, by the way. They look so good. Anybody else?
Go.
Brian, you had
I
one?
was gonna say, I'm proud of Joe for getting these tables rolled out.
They look so good.
Go, Joe.
Go, Joe! Anybody else? Oh, all right. All right. Joe. He hates it so much. Look at him.
Like that.
Bryce?
I don't want to give the engineers too much gas, but grateful for them. They've been really easy to communicate with on messed up parts and new products, so. And just pretty good at talking with us.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Working with us on adjustment.
Awesome. That's great. What's up, man?
So I'm proud of my daughter. She's been growing up. I mean, she just graduated this year. So she's actually doing some art for kids. Middle school stuff. Being on the paint wall and all that stuff.
That's cool. Hey, graffiti. Heck yeah.
It's pretty good. I saw some videos today.
Yeah? Super cool.
I'll put on the group chat.
Yes, absolutely. Anybody else? No. Yes? No. Don't adjust your glasses. I'll call on you, man. We are going to go through the 8 ways to lean eventually. We're on day 2. Does anybody remember what Bryce talked about yesterday?
Yeah.
Lee, you know them all. Don't know. Nuh-uh. Somebody else. You know them all too. Somebody else. Morgan.
You should be used to, you should have tire tracks built in then.
Perfect shirt on.
Just point to your shirt. Nope. Jamie, what is it?
Overproduction.
Who remembers what overproduction is?
Making more than needed.
Making more than needed. Absolutely. You presented it. Shut up.
More inventory.
What is wrong with you?
Tell people to step up then.
More inventory. The biggest thing with overproduction that Bryce touched on yesterday is that it leads to all of the other wastes, right? It is waste from having more product than customers demand, creating work that no one really reads or needs. And then the big thing that he talked about yesterday, it's just in case versus just in time, right? It's important that we don't have stock just laying around just in case. We want it just in time, right? Today, we're going to talk about transportation, the second waste. Hey, listen, if my translations are wrong, yell at me. I'm trying with the translations, but if they're wrong, I apologize. Google did you dirty if they're wrong. Today, we're going to talk about transportation. Really, the big thing about transportation that it is waste from moving products, our physical products, tools, information, anything that we move around this building that is a physical thing that is not us. People moving unnecessarily is motion. We are only talking about goods, products, physical things for transportation. Okay, we'll talk about motion later as a different waste later on. It's excessive transportation creates cost, damage, and defects. Damage is a big one. Excessive transportation for us, right? If we are moving our products all over the place all the time, there's such a chance for scratches, nicks, bending. Let's not talk about what FedEx does to us as soon as this stuff leaves our building, right? The savages. And the drivers are like, this box is heavy, I'm pissed. And they just kick it up the driveway, right? We have a Ring doorbell video of a guy unloading a bumper without a pallet and literally just hanging onto the wing and dragging it up their driveway on the face of the bumper, right? It sucks. Transportation is so wasteful for us, but we will never, ever, 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 ever get rid of all the waste of transportation, ever. Because Transportation is literally moving an object from one place to another.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right? We have to do that. We have to do that as a business. There are things that we have to move from the back to the front to ship them. That's transportation. That's a waste. It does not make that part any more valuable. But we have to do it. So some of these things we will have to live in. We just have to figure out a way to mitigate the cost of moving it from one place to another. Are there shorter routes we can take? Are there different procedures we can have? One of the things that really limits us here is our facility, right? No, you don't. I clicked you once. Hit me. What you got?
Exactly what do you mean by information?
So information, right? Is there an easier way to, instead of printing out a piece of paper, walking to the printer, grabbing the piece of paper, bringing that piece of paper back to your desk, bringing that piece of paper back to your workstation, walking that piece of paper from the front all the way to the back to Bryce, right? Is there a better way to get that information from one person to another? Could this meeting have been an email, right? Heck no, not this meeting, but could that piece of paper have been an email? Could that piece of paper have been a phone call? Where you didn't have to physically move something through the building? Because now transportation is coupled with motion, right? I'm a person wasting my time to walk a piece of paper to the back of the building, right? So now it's two wastes in one. So transportation usually goes along with motion, but we're only talking about this stuff. So information, that's a good question. Is there a way to get information through the building or through our company more efficient? Usually what transportation comes from is inadequately or improperly designed facilities or systems. We are kind of at the mercy of how we're laid out right now, right? One of the biggest transportation wastes that we have in this facility is powder coat going from here over there and then there over here, right? We've got forklifts involved. We've got people involved. We've got the chance for one of the carts, like a bumper, to shift and move and knock into another bumper. I'm not saying you guys are not extremely careful. We know you are. But there's the chance for it, right? You hit a pothole out there, things bounce around. We've got powder coat damage now. Maybe somebody in shipping doesn't catch it. Maybe they do. We still have to send it back and get it touched up, or we have to touch it up. It just creates those defects, those damages, those problems, right? But we're at the mercy of it because we have to do it. We have to do it. In the new building, we're being very cognizant of layout, very cognizant of flow. We want to make sure that things have to travel the smallest distance possible, right? To mitigate that transportation waste. And Brian and the other people who have been involved have, how many times have you redesigned the building just based on flow?
Like maybe 3 times.
3 times. Right? I mean, get everything right. Absolutely. This is cool. And then frick. Redesign, right? I found a 2-second improvement that could change the way everything is. So let's just move everything around and start over, right? We get to dictate what our flow looks like, where our machines are laid out, because the building's just a giant shell. Anything goes. We can do whatever we want. So we'll be able to get rid of some of these transportation waste, like moving things outside, moving things across a parking lot, moving things around in here in a way that is wasteful. Come on now. So what are some examples from your area that could use less transportation? What are some things that we're moving around a lot that we don't need to move around a lot? Ben?
Well, last Thursday I loaded some full bars onto a cart from Powder Coat, and then yesterday I went looking for them and they disappeared. So that was a lot of moving the parts.
Just somewhere where we don't even know where they went. Cool. That's what you want.
Gas bottles.
Gas bottles. Why?
Run out of gas, you have to get your gas bottle all the way over to where the gas bottles are, get a new gas bottle, then get it all the way back to your machine and hook it up.
And that's not just moving the material, that's moving a body too, right? So now we've got two wastes involved.
That's not even like product, that's just a consumable that we use every day, that we need to use.
And that doesn't add any value to our product. That doesn't add any value to our customer. So that's, I mean, that's a waste.
Or like going up and getting a jig from up top. You have to go up there, you have to come down, you have to put them back up there. You
Go get the high low.
Gotta go get the high low, get like 4 or 5 of them, get them up there. Have two, maybe 2 or 3 people helping. Because you got someone running the high low, you got someone upstairs.
So that's a ton of motion waste,
Yeah.
a ton of motion waste and a ton of transportation waste, right?
And that's
So-
not even with products.
And that's not even anything to do with products. How many times have you moved a bumper onto your bench, moved a bumper off of your bench, moved a bumper back onto your bench, moved a bumper off of your bench? How many times have you done that with one thing? Because maybe we pick on light tabs a lot, but like maybe you're just like, well, there's no friggin' light tabs on this pallet.
Maybe you have to take it to the grinding booth.
Maybe you have to take the bumper to the
Grab a
grinding.
thread, put it on your thing, take it to the grinding booth, have someone help you in there.
That's more motion, more transportation, right? This thing keeps clicking and I apologize. I'm not touching you. So what are some solutions to those issues we can practice now? Ben, your bull bars. They disappeared, right? They were transported somewhere else. What's the solution to moving these things around needlessly, I guess? Maybe it was needed. I don't know the situation, but let's say it was just moved somewhere else. Like what's the solution to something like that?
Possibly put them in a common place where they can be found.
Yes. Kevin Rickers coming in clutch.
Have a home.
Have a home for it.
Put it away, don't put it down.
Right. Brian talked a lot about the thing that really like gave him the aha moment was thinking about how many times we move things back by the laser, right? How many times do we pull things out, put it on a pallet, pick that pallet up, move it somewhere else, pick that pallet back up, move it somewhere else, put that pallet down, pick that pallet back up, move the parts off of it, put the parts back on the pallet, put that pallet down, move it somewhere else, pick that pallet up, right? How many times do we do that? And Brian's, what was your exact words? We suck. I'm pretty sure that's what, like, we suck, right? So like all of that is transportation waste, not to mention the person moving the thing. So transportation and motion usually go hand in hand, but to have two wastes at the same time sucks. Brian.
Another example of transportation, that Travis does a really good job of doing this, it's when he's bringing stuff back from powder coat, he'll come around here and he'll check in the inspection area, see if there's anything that he can bring back, right? So he's just doing it all in one trip instead of dropping it off, going back to powder coat, 5 minutes later, coming back here to grab something from the inspection, right? He's already over here now. He's gonna swing by and see if there's anything he can take back while he's here.
Yes, that's a great efficiency. Brian.
Another solution is an SOP.
Yes.
We can set some standard work on how we do that, and then those things, like Kevin said, they put where they belong, like if there's a standard set for it.
Absolutely. You guys have any other examples of things that we can practice now?
Others have, anybody out there has a problem with something engineering related, include some information, we've been a lot better about it, knowing kind of what the issue is before we come back. If we need to look into it, if we know you're working on a fit gen 4 in the front blitz, and that's what you're having a problem with, and it's vendor related, oftentimes we'll jump in, the model and get a couple of baseline measurements from our phone, or just familiarize ourselves with, maybe it's Ryan's bumper that you need help with, and Ryan's busy, so I'm gonna come back and try to help you. There, I can help with it, or grab a tape measure, or grab a caliper, or grab, something, just to have background information before we, it's a non-trivial amount of time to come back, especially Chris or Nate has a problem, or Monty has a problem, and it's like, you wrap up 10 minutes and you just getting back there and hearing what the problem is, so
Sure.
knowing how that kind of goes with transportation and communication, like send us a picture, send us a mod, even if it's, hey, I'm working on this flip phone for it, and then it's come see me, it's a lot better than, hey, you got a second,
Right. And that gets into what Brian's been saying a bunch in a lot of these meetings is if you see something, just stop. Stop. Let's fix the issue. Stop. Because the more we move that part, the more valuable it becomes. Not to the customer, but just it costs us more, right? Every time we touch something, every time we move something, it becomes more expensive. And that's not even to say, let's say we've shipped a bumper, and we'll just use light tabs again. It doesn't have light tabs in it, right? And we missed it. We missed it in production. We missed it in inspection. We missed it in shipping, and the customer has found it, right? This bumper does not have light tabs. Let's say it's a bumper that we freight. And I know we've already talked about this, but this is a huge waste for us. Huge waste for us because we've shipped it to them at, let's say, $450, right? Now we have the choice to ship it back, weld light tabs in it for another $450. So now we're at $900, and then ship it back to them again for another $450. We're at just short of $1,400 at this point, right? For two parts that got moved up through here and nobody noticed it. So literally transporting it back and forth has cost us $1,300. And sometimes it's powder coat damage. Sometimes it's, things that we can't control. I get it, but it's still a cost for us. It's not just us moving our parts around in here. It's moving our parts out to our customer as well. So FedEx is a transportation cost for us. Our freight companies, transportation costs and waste for us, because that's not something that our customer sees as value. It's a necessary evil, but it's not something our customer sees as value. Is there anything else? Do you guys have any questions about any of this before we move on to just some housekeeping stuff?
Chris, could you just maybe tie in how, you talked in the beginning about how overproduction kind of leads to all the other ones, just tie that to transportation.
Sure. Absolutely. So the question was, if you couldn't hear over there, can you tie transportation to the first waste of overproduction? Yes. If we are overproducing so much stuff coming through this curtain, right? How many more things do we need to move? Let's say we're batching 5 rear strikes out, 5 5th-gen rear strikes, right? We have to move all of those things. They don't all fit on one pallet. So now somebody has to physically move those things more than once from the back to the front, right? Where they could be spending that time grabbing the next job. They could be spending that time cleaning out their booth, getting ready to work on the next thing, right? That's just fabricators. Then we've got Brian and his crew up here in shipping, moving those 5 bumpers onto the powder coat carts, right? All 5 of them. And then we've got Travis and his crew moving those 5 bumpers all the way over there, physically hanging them up on the thing. And then we've got them moving them back into the warehouse. How big are 5 strikes? How much more could we fit on those powder coat racks? How much more could we fit on these big carts going back and forth if we didn't have a batch of 5 bumpers, right? We've got 1 bumpers, 2 bumpers. It's a lot easier on everybody.
That are already sold.
Thank you, Brian.
This became a major issue probably about 2 months ago or 3 months
Thank you.
ago. Where roof racks stuff got to the point where there was so much of it that you were tripping over it, you were stepping on it, you were moving it all the time.
All the time.
Over and over and over again. That was to the point where I had to tell them to just stop cutting roof rack stuff, right? Guys, we have too much of this, it's in the way, right? Then it's drowning in it. But we still have an abundance of that same product, but before, didn't know where for it, so it was on the floor on a skid. So if we needed to get to the skid behind it, that pallet jack moved it, so we could get to the one we needed, and move it back, right? It was just constant. But that's what happens up here, is they get so flooded, because you guys can overproduce what these guys can physically handle in the building. And it got to the point where every one of these racks was full of product, that had to be rolled out of the way and moved around to get to the one part that was on the rack that was ready to go.
I'm not a shipping person. I'm in shipping a lot to do tech fixes and things like that and bother Brian mostly. I'm not a shipping person, but the number of times that I've had to roll these carts out to get to something behind and then roll the carts back, that's just transportation waste. Right? Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, man, hit me.
Yesterday, mentioned I have to go fix it after this. I was trying to clear out parts that we're trying to get to a one-piece flow next door where each engineer has a cart, you put your project on a cart, you work on a project, and you're done with the project, you put the cart back in its spot, you put the tools away. It's supposed to shift force organization and help us use less tools and everything else, but while cleaning carts off, there's a cart that must have gotten stolen from over here at some point. And on the bottom shelf, there's probably 10 Bronco front Vanguard, ACC, relocate or, blackout plates.
Oh.
That's probably 2 years worth of those. Second off, then there was, 4 or 5, I think there was 2 or 3 pairs of GX 470 under headlight fillers, powder coated, wrapped up, saran wrap. So now they're in shed tag somehow. Nobody knows where they are.
Where you want 'em?
Because I saw them yesterday, and there was a blanket great go cart, so no one knew they were there, they were hiding. So I uncovered them, and now I gotta go get them and bring them back over here to my spot for 2 years worth of Bronco front Vanguard ACC block pumps.
Did
Cool.
you find Did you find Ben's gold bars?
No, I didn't. But I was in the front corner, our shed deck where I found these parts, and I turned around and there was Ben Rickers looking for bull bars that should have been in shipping, and I was in the furthest point at our property that should have had bull bars. So it must have been they were over there.
Right, absolutely. Anybody else?
I have an example of the information stuff.
Hit me.
Sometimes, I know it's, where our focus is to weed this out, but when we make adjustments and we work with the engineers in the past, the information hasn't gotten upstairs, so then we end up making those same adjustments multiple times, and it gets lost somewhere in between there and there. And it just seems wasteful to fix the same stuff over and over again.
Sure. So, the people in the back, do we have access to email? Do we have access to the chats? Is there a place that we could put it so that the information will travel as well as traveling with the person? Right? So, I mean, are there multiple places? Feels like doing twice the work, but is there multiple places that we could put that information so that we could find it easier? You know? Let's try the chat. Let's try, I mean, I don't know, do you guys have phones in the back?
We don't need a solution right now.
Right.
Yeah, we can sort that out.
It was just.
No, we're gonna fix it, Brian. All right. Yes. Housekeeping items, SOPs, Gamma Docs, and WhatsApp. We've got a couple things just to go through real quick. Great job, everybody. This is me just scrolling through all of the Gamma Docs that we have right now. There are 144 and counting SOPs. That is fantastic. I love seeing this. This is, I mean, they just keep going. They just keep going. They just keep going. Something to remember with the SOPs is that this is a starting point. So don't think that it's just one and done. SOPs will go on. They will evolve. They will. So if you're working on something and you notice that there's something that you could change, that you could improve, that something could go faster, something could be more efficient, make sure that you either get with the person who created the SOP and update it, or update it yourself, or find somebody who can update it. These are the things that I did. Document it, my before and after, right? This is how I made my change, my 2-second lean, my 2-second improvement, and then update the SOP so that that doesn't get lost in the shuffle of everything, right? We're still supposed to be updating these SOPs so that they get better and better and better. And I know right now we're in the middle of generating them, that's fine. But if you have a way to update them to make them better, make sure that that information is getting in there so that everybody can use it, right? It becomes the new standard. Before and afters, this is a great example that Brian gave to me from the WhatsApp chat. He said, use the one from Powder Coat because it's fantastic. Travis, great job. Travis and your team, great job. These before and after pictures in the WhatsApp. If you guys are not in the WhatsApp chat, please get there. Brian has the link. He can get it to you. I think we're all in it already by now, or there's a couple people that might not be.
Joe's been the gatekeeper.
Joe's been the gatekeeper. Sweet. So get with Joe if you're not in it. All of our improvements, all of our things are going in here. So keep up with it. It's a really cool place. Even if you're not adding to it, even if you're not, posting a bunch of stuff in it, just look at it and maybe it will generate some ideas for you in your area, to do some before and after to do some improvements, right? Upcoming mini topics. Tomorrow, Joe's going to talk about excess inventory. And then Monday, Corey's got defects. And then we're going to hear from Monty, Chris Hamilton, and Alex next week. So that's going to be really cool. Thank you. That's all I have. Have a great day, everybody. Any other questions, comments, concerns? You can talk to me after. See you. Bye.
Goodbye, Cameron.
Oh, bye, Cameron.